Welcome to Tax Roadmap. I am your tax attorney and CPA, Nafisa Manira, who rescues businesses and individuals with tax debt and trains the next generation of tax attorneys and CPAs to do the same. Welcome again to Tax Roadmap. I am so excited that you are decided to join us today, and go ahead and make sure you subscribe and like my channel so that you are alerted every single time I'm coming and dropping the tax gems. Yes. And I want you all to know that I am on a mission to train the next generation of tax attorneys and tax CPAs and let people know that this is a very lucrative area of law to practice in. Yes. You say, Nafisa, why do I care? Because I know you want to make more money. I know you want to make more money. I know you're tired of working those 80 hours, 100 hours, right? And you need to be specializing in these areas because it is one of the highest paid tax legal specialty, one of the highest paid tax CPA specialty areas of tax representation and tax controversy work. So let's talk about it. Okay. What I want to talk to you about today is anytime that you're considering and whether to specialize in a particular area or go into a different industry, you got to kind of look at it like a business. You got to kind of analyze it like you would a business, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all business. So anytime you're looking to jump into something new, these are three things that you want to look at. You want to know, number one, what's the problem? What's the problem I'm trying to solve? Number two, is it a growing industry? Is there a growing demand for that particular service? Number three, you want to know, what's the competition look like? So let's dive in and look into it. Number one, what's the problem? The problem is that there are over 18 million taxpayers who need help and they don't have representation. So the problem is you have millions and millions of Americans whose financial lives are being negatively affected by the fact that they don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't have representation. So here is where the need is. And it's an unmet need of people being represented in terms of their tax debt. Number two, you want to look at is this industry, is there a growing demand? Because we want to make sure that we're not trying to do all this training and get trained and get certifications in a dying industry, right? Like trying to sell the yellow pages, right? Or going out here trying to be a salesman for newspapers. Well, that's the newspaper industry is a dying industry. Why would you want to become a specialist in that? So we want to make sure that whatever specialty that we want to train ourselves in is in a growing industry. So let's take a look at the tax representation, tax controversy industry. Is there a growing demand? Number one, the demand is based upon what? Revenue. The IRS, each year, they are a collector of the U.S. revenue. And every year, the amount of revenue that they're collecting goes up, right? It goes up. There's more and more revenue that needs to be collected. And a percentage of that falls into delinquent tax debt, which is not being collected. And right now, that's called a tax gap. When you have a gap between the amount of money that you're supposed to receive and the amount of money that you actually have, that's called a tax gap. And right now, there's over $688 billion in the tax gap. $688 billion of revenue that the IRS is owed, but they don't have. Okay? They're owed it, but they don't have. That right there is letting you know that there is a growing demand. There's also a growing demand in this area because at the end of the day, there's over 70% of taxpayers, of Americans today, are living paycheck to paycheck. Over 70%, which means they don't have enough money to cover their debts. and they keep borrowing. So when tax debt comes into play, they don't have enough money to pay it. And they're still struggling to pay it, right? Not only that, but household debt is increasing every year. So more and more people are not able to meet their current debt load, which includes, right, the tax debt. So this is another reason why there is a growing and growing demand in this area for our services. And it's going to continue because, again, we are representing them before the IRS. Okay. Number three thing you want to look at when you're trying to look at what business or what type of specialty to specialize in, you want to look at the competition. What's my competition like? Right? Well, here's the good news. In the tax representation, tax controversy area, before the IRS, you have to be an attorney, a CPA, or an enrolled agent. So even though you see millions and millions of on every other corner, there's a tax a tax preparation firm on every other corner. Everybody's uncle, brother, mama, sister, friend of a friend of a friend is a tax preparer. It's not like that in tax representation, tax controversy work. Everybody can't come up to the party. Everybody can't show up to the party, right? The only ones that can come are attorneys, certified public accountants, and EAs or enrolled agents. Those are the only three that's invited to the party. There's the only three that has the authority to represent taxpayers before the IRS. A lot of people can do your returns, but not in terms of representing before the IRS. Okay? And keep in mind, there's over 1.3 million attorneys in the United States, but only about 6,000 are tax attorneys. That's less than 0.5% of attorneys are tax attorneys. That is not enough to be able to service all this need out here. Okay. And even though there's more than 1.3 million accountants, only about half, 671,000, are CPAs. And of that 671,000 that are CPAs, only about 0.5 to 0.4% of those specialize in tax representation and tax controversy work. So you have a very small pool of supply, if you want to call it, that's out there. Now, it is growing because people are starting to know and realize, you know what? This is a great business. This is a great area to specialize in. And even if you don't want to have your own business, it's a great area to become an expert in for your particular firm, right? For your particular firm. It's a great area. So these are the things that you need to know and before you decide to specialize in this area. And so I want you to spread the good news. Go ahead and do your own research. Go ahead and do your own due diligence. But this is a fantastic area. And I want to make some more money. And I know you want that money to be made on your own terms. So tax representation, tax controversy work is something I think you should definitely look into. And if you want to know more information, contact me. I'm Nafisa Munir, and I want you to have a fantastic day. And I'll see you next time on Tax Roadmap. Bye.